Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be going over my final team selection ahead of tonight's deadline. I'm going to go over my team selection, the two transfers that I have made, and just a heads up, I have taken a -4 in that. But also, we're going to cover some key questions around certain players coming in and out, but also who is the best captaincy choice for this game week. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here today with me for another video. Before we get into this one, if you wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up and subscribing down below, it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so I just want to start off with some key questions just before we get into this video when I show you my team and the transfers that I've made. So the first question up is Haaland. What do you do if you still own Haaland? Now, I think last game week, that was the point to sort of get off of him, right? It was just before Liverpool. They were going away from home. You know, I think the odds were probably stacked more in Mo Salah and Liverpool's favour. Now, I get it. At some point, City are going to have to start winning games, and Haaland is going to have to start scoring again. So, but the problem is that it's every single week we keep saying the same thing. Okay, this is going to be the week. Okay, this is going to be the week, and it's just not happening at the moment. And I think it's bad form from Haaland, but it's also bad form from the City team. You know, they're not defending well. They're not really attacking as we're sort of used to seeing them. So I just think with the money that he is and the options else up front, whether it be Matheus Cunha, João Pedro, Chris Wood, you know, there's so many, Nicholas Jackson, there's so many other options up front for who are a lot less cheaper than what Haaland is. And that money that you save can help you get to have a three-man midfield of Salah, Saka, and Palmer. It allows you to get to a Van Dijk and Gabriel in your defence with a David Raya in goal. So the spare money that you get from saving on Haaland, I think is just worth upgrading the rest of the squad with. The big thing is that if you do sell Haaland this week, if you're somebody who's only got one free transfer, I don't know whether it's that beneficial because you don't want the money to be sitting in your bank. However, the good thing is the next game week deadline is only back on the weekend, so it'll only be like sort of 2-3 days after this one finishes. So there is positives to it. I just think for me personally, at this point now, I think Man City, I probably wouldn't be looking at them till about game week 18 when their fixtures swing. The teams that they've got coming up now are they're sort of hit and miss teams, but you never know what you're going to get. And because of how uncertain Man City have been around their form, I just don't think it's worth the investment at this point in time. So yeah, I'm not going to sit on the fence with this, and I will give you an answer. I think if you still own Erling Haaland, you're one of those people who are holding out. I think it's time just to cut losses, just to get rid of him, spread that money around the team, and then look towards a game week 18 around that sort of time period. Just to, if you do want to bring him back for that, then you can find routes back to him. But I think at least for now and for the next sort of 4 or 5 game weeks, for me, he's just not on the cards at all. Okay, Alexander Isak, do you sell him if you still have him? Now, I actually made this transfer on Sunday night. So at the time of when I made this transfer, Nicholas Jackson was predicted to price rise and Isak was predicted to drop. Jackson did go up in price. Isak didn't drop. I think that's because, he's back and probably going to be fit for this weekend. If I still owned Alexander Isak, would I still sell him? It's a hard one because I think when I bought him in 2 weeks ago, we already knew that this fixture against Liverpool was going to come up. It was more for the fact that they're playing Leicester and Ipswich, I think in 16-17, what I was looking to target. However, I do think it was just a mistake. I think the transfer, it's a straight shot between them. It was a 50-50 over Jackson or Isak. At the time of making that transfer, Isak was on a hot run of form. Newcastle was starting to pick things up. Jackson was 1 yellow card away from being suspended. I don't think that there was a guarantee that he was going to play in the midweek game, but then obviously, the fact that he got pulled off around, I think it was 69, 70 minutes, just, at least in my head, just means that he's going to be starting at least the Southampton game. So I think at the time of making the transfer, it was the right move, but I think as time has gone on, 1 or 2 weeks have passed, I think looking back, it was just a mistake. And for me personally, I'm really big on, if you can identify the mistake early, even if you use a transfer in it a couple of weeks ago, don't hesitate to then retract from that, because what happens is people end up getting to a run where, like myself with Haaland, where you just keep keeping him every single week and you keep missing out on points. And it's the same thing for that when, Salah was there to be swapped and you kind of think, okay, but he's already hauled in previous games before, he can't do it again. And you end up holding that player and Salah goes and gets another brace. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's the same thing on this. Don't overthink it. I think, on paper this week, Jackson has got the better fixture. He's playing for the better team. Southampton are missing a lot of first team players. So don't overthink it. I think for me, if you do own Alexander Isak, I think it's okay just to hold your hands up and say, you know what, that transfer just didn't work out. It's what it is. It happens. It happens. And I think on this one, don't lose out on the upside of Jackson for what could happen in game week 16-17 when we're not even there yet. So yeah, for me, if you still own Alexander Isak, I personally would sell him. I have done myself this week. But yeah, I think it's also team dependent on how your structure's set up as well. Okay, so moving on to the captaincy choices. Now, this week I think is quite tricky. As you can see, number 1 and 2, I've just gone Palmer 1, only just, and that is because of the fixture he's got. You know, I think Mo Salah is still an excellent option in any game he's playing, especially at the form he's in at the moment. Um, I've gone for Cole Palmer because I just think, like I said in the previous section, Southampton are missing a lot of players. You know, their main keeper Ramsdale's out, Harwood Bellis is out, Dibling's out, so there's a few of their key starters that are not going to be there, and I just think that Chelsea could have a good effect on the Southampton side. Now, it is worth saying that obviously they play again on the weekend, so there is potential that, you know, Palmer could be brought off early, Jackson could be brought off early, whereas I think Mo Salah will probably end up playing more of the minutes. But I just think Palmer's got that sort of explosive ability where if he gets a penalty, if he gets a free kick, you know, he's always a threat from them sort of things. Corners as well, he's on all set pieces. So yeah, for me, I think Palmer just edges it as number 1. Salah very close behind at number 2. Number 3, I have put Erling Haaland here, despite what I said, because there has to be a point where he does score. Now, Forest have been very good defensively when they're at home. Away, maybe not so much. They've kept a few clean sheets here and there, but I just think that maybe Erling Haaland back at the Etihad could be quite strong, and I've just put him above Bukayo Saka in at number 4. Obviously, Arsenal have got a very good fixture at home this week. Man United, I'm not really too sure what we're going to get from them. Obviously, it's a little bit of a rough start. First game against Ipswich, but then obviously picked up a big 4-0 win against Everton. So yeah, I think that one will be tricky. I do expect an Arsenal win, but for me, this is my top 4 captains. I wouldn't consider anyone else kind of out of these 4. Palmer first, Salah second, Haaland third, just, and I would put Bukayo Saka in at number 4. Okay, so on to my final team section, and I have made 2 transfers, as you guys can see from this graphic. So in goal, David Raya, again, just brought him in on game week 6 wildcard all those weeks ago. Set and forget, no problems with him. He's going to start every game for me while I have him. Back 3. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. I'm not happy with my back 3. However, I have taken a -4 this week, which I'm going to come on to when we get to the midfield and the forwards. For now, I'm going to have to just play it as it is because I do want to get to a Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk, to me, is the player that I want. You could possibly consider Joe Gomez, but I just think when Konate comes back in a couple of weeks, he's going to be a headache to get rid of. As you know, some of us picked up Gerald Concert at the start of the season and realised that we had to take a transfer to bring him in, but then we have to use a transfer to get rid of him. So for me personally, Van Dijk is going to play every minute of every game he's fit. He is a big threat from corners and set pieces as well. So yeah, eventually I'm going to get to there. I just couldn't justify taking a -8 this week for bringing him in. So the back 3 consists of, I'm going to start off with the worst one, Pau Torres. Now, if you saw my last video, you know how much I actually hate this guy. And hate's a strong word, so maybe not that much, but I cannot, when this guy leaves my team, he will never come back. I have a small list of a few players. Edison's on there, Calvert-Lewin. He has made that list of players that I will never own in FPL again. So yeah, Aston Villa defensively, I'm not really hopeful of much. They're playing against the Brentford side, who are scoring freely. Obviously more when they're at home, but maybe this might be a nice little send-off for Pau Torres against Brentford, where maybe he keeps a clean sheet, but he's in there solely because I'd rather play him than Mazraoui on my bench. So yeah, he's going to start 8-0 against Everton. I'm hopeful that this could be the week that Wolves keep another clean sheet, and maybe he might get an attacking return along the way. We'll have to wait and see, but I am keeping my fingers crossed that this could be the game week for him. You know, Everton don't really look like they're scoring many goals at the moment. So yeah, fingers crossed for that. Estupiñán, my first free transfer in this week, it was Konate out for Estupiñán. I just really like the Brighton defence over the next sort of 5, 6, 7 weeks. I wanted to get someone in there. I was looking at Van Heck for the 4.5, but I just think Estupiñán does offer a little bit more going forward. He's not as attacking as he once was, but for me, just having him in there, you know, if he does get an assist, usually he ends up with bonus points as well. So yeah, I'm happy to own him. Then we come on to the midfield. We'll start off with the 2 big boys, Salah and Palmer. Obviously, at the time of recording, I've currently got this on Cole Palmer. It's not to say it's going to stay there. The captaincy may well change. I'm just not 100% sure on who I want it to be on at the moment. Right now, Cole Palmer's leading the way. But you know, as the deadline gets closer, maybe I just think that Salah could be that guy again to turn up. So yeah, it's a really close one. Right now, I'm going to leave it on Cole Palmer, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So we've got them 2 in there. Semenyo and Mbeumo both starting for me. Now, at the time of recording, it was going to be either one or the other. But after making my transfer and bringing Jackson in for Isak, what I've ended up doing is I've ended up benching Anthony Gordon to make sure that both of them could get in there. So Semenyo's got Tottenham at home. Bournemouth very good when they're at home. Aston Villa away for Mbeumo. Now, it all depends on how Brentford set up. If Brentford set up with their 5-3-2 and he's up front with Wissa, then I'm much more interested and I like it a lot more. However, the last few games when they have been at home, they've been scoring goals relentlessly, but Mbeumo's been so far out wide, he's had nothing going forward. Like his expected goals have been so poor. You know, expected assists haven't been great either. So he's kind of just hugging the touchline and just sort of pulling fullbacks out to give more space in the middle. So that, for me personally, as an FPL owner, it's not what I want to see. So yeah, I think I'm going to give him Burmo this week. I know there's a lot of talk about should you sell him, should you not. Because obviously he's a nice price route to like the Bruno Fernandez's, Saka, Salah, Palmer. If you don't own any of them already, he's the sort of midway price that you would sort of jump from him to them. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But yeah, he's starting in the 4 across midfield with Semenyo. And onto the front three: João Pedro, Nicholas Jackson, Mateus Cunha. Again, them three, I think these three sort of speak for themselves. Jackson, was there an outside shout at captaincy? I do like a road captaincy, don't get me wrong, but I think for this week, I think Palmer and Salah, the fact that both of them are on penalties, both of them are on, you know, free kicks, it just made more sense to go for one of the midfielders per yeah. But I'm hoping Jackson can still pop up. He's been in great form recently, so fingers crossed he can get back on the score sheet again. Cunha's playing against an Everton side which aren't really playing that well. You know, they just conceded 4 to Man United on the weekend previous. So I'm hoping Cunha can sort of work a little bit of magic with Aït-Nouri, and sort of pick up a few goals there, maybe a couple of assists, whatever. He's so good for bonus points. He's definitely going to be in there. And João Pedro, I'm hoping this week he's going to be playing a lot more further forward than what I saw him in last week's game, because he was very deep at times. You know, he was linking up the play, fantastic footballer, but for an FPL asset, that's not where I want to see my guy playing on the halfway line. I want to see him up top, getting the chances, getting the goals. He is on penalties, so that's again great news. I think if you are buying João Pedro this week and you're looking to move to him, just bear in mind that I don't know if you can guarantee 90 minutes from him. I think he played 72 last week, which is the most he's had since he's come back from injury, which is good. It shows that his fitness is getting up. But I think just because Brighton then have another game on Sunday, they're playing Thursday, Sunday, so it is a very short turnaround. So yeah, just bear that in mind if you're bringing him in, but still just a fine pick, I think, for this week, but also going forward as well. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. If you guys have any comments, any questions you want to ask, feel free to leave it in the comments down below, or you can follow me on Twitter and just tweet me there. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. But just remember, tonight's deadline, 6 o'clock. Make sure you get your transfers done, captaincies on set. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, this can be a good game week for us all, and hopefully the start of a couple green arrows in the road for me. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you guys next time.